It's showtime. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the 23 podcast show, episode 12 with Becca Starr. Becca, how are you?
I'm good, man. How's yourself?
I'm good, thanks. I just had to double check with myself there what day it actually is. So that is a Monday.
It's a Monday.
It's definitely a Monday. It's the 25th of May. It's a very significant anniversary for myself, which I'll come on to later on in the chat, because it's not all about me. So
nice.
It's about yourself tonight. So now that we have you on, give us a shout in the comments. Let us know where you are in the world on this beautiful planet Earth. We'll give you a wee shout out. We're going to be having some chat, exploring quite a lot of themes, talking about music, other things, listening to some, watching some
existential, we're going to delve into the existential of the universe, my friend.
We are. We'll talk about your hair colour and my lack of hair as well.
Yes, I love talking about my hair. Amazing.
So, if you've just joined us, thanks very much. If you're a regular viewer of the 23 podcast show, you'll know at this stage we quickly need to do the social media thing. So if you wouldn't mind yourself, feel free to start a watch party on your timeline. If you manage any pages, you've coming in, just give us a shout out in the comments. I'll give you a shout out, give your page a share. Feel free to give it a share. And that's what we are doing right now.
That's what I'm doing right now, and I can't look cool while I do it. So I'm just going to say, watch this now, right? And you've seen me literally live stream it.
Yeah, it's multitasking.
Aye. Oh, we're all about the technology.
It's multitasking.
And a wee sunshine, because you're all about that sunshiny positivity, good vibes. Love it.
It's been a lovely day. It was very hot. We'll talk about that as well. I did manage to get out for a bit today.
Right, I think I've done the hang. I think the hang's been done.
Right, your hang's been done. My hang's not been done yet. My page was just deciding to buffer for a wee bit, but
this is a really good test of my new internet, by the way. Did you hear about my fiasco with the internet? Hiya, I see an already Karen lurking in the back there.
How you doing, all right? Okay, so whilst I'm doing my hang, we are live.
We're live now.
So whilst I'm doing my hang, you tell us about your internet fiasco.
Right, so essentially, just moved out to Paisley, part of the Paisley Massive now, with Ori.
Paisleyonian.
Yeah, man, it's good. I'm really liking it. I wasn't actually that familiar with Paisley, but last year, the Dammage played a gig at a venue called the Bungalow, and I was familiar of the venue already, but we went down and played, and then amazing venue, such a nice venue. Really, really, really amazing staff, amazing, they're just great. I'm really missing them. But essentially made a wee contact there through the grapevine and started hosting Choose Wisely there earlier this year. How the hell did I get onto the Bungalow from my internet fiasco?
Internet fiasco.
Aye, right. There's going to be a lot of this when you're talking to me, man. I will go off on a wee tangent, and unlike Billy Connolly, will not come back to the where it started. But anyway,
what you need to do is in this situation, I'm sometimes like that as well. You need to work out a way that you can mentally leave breadcrumbs like Hansel and Gretel.
Right. Okay. Well, this can be a workshop in that tonight, David. Amazing. Okay. You can keep me right. Essentially, we moved out to Paisley. I've been working at the Bungalow for a bit, so I got to know Paisley through working at the Bungalow. Found my breadcrumbs, mate. Found my fucking breadcrumbs.
The first of the breadcrumbs have been found.
So yeah, I became familiar with Paisley with working at the Bungalow and popping back and forth through and stuff and going out postering and whatnot. I've got lots of friends that live through here. Most of my band for the new album are Paisley Paisley belters. So it was nice to actually kind of move out somewhere where there was already kind of felt like a bit of a home base, just because some of these mates that I've got out here are like influential kind of mates, you know what I mean? Like they're just so we're living out here with the belters out in Paisley, and we're trying to get the internet sorted for the new gaff, and wanted the fastest speeds because, as you know, I make videos and upload tunes and all this kind of crap. So needed super fast internet. So it turned out the fastest internet was Vodafone, right?
Okay.
We were like, nice one, no danger, we'll go with that then. And then we thought that we were getting it. We'd like, set it all up, and they're like, right, we'll come out in 2 weeks. You'll get your router sent in the post. You don't even need an engineer. You just plug it in like the morning that it's meant to activate, and then it should just do its thing like magic, right? So no danger, it comes. We plug it in, nothing happens.
No
days.
Magic.
No magic. This flashing red light of doom on the router, man. So it ended up being that the actual cabinet for our flat, the like telephone cabinet, was completely goosed and didn't have like any means for fibre broadband or anything. And it was this whole fiasco. So basically it took 2 months to get internet broadband. So we only got it like 10 days ago or something like that. So it's last week even, it was being a bit choppy and dropping out. So fingers crossed, it should be fine. I have got a backup if everything goes tits up at any point. I've got my phone right beside me on charge, so we can just quickly do the thing. But fingers crossed it'll be fine, because after all that, surely it's going to be fine. Surely.
Well, it's sounding okay. I know we had a wee IT issue before we came on, but we're all right now. And you did fix it. We got over that IT hurdle.
Yes.
And it's been fixed. So whereabouts in Paisley?
We're not too far from the town centre, actually. I won't give away my exact address, but
don't worry, I'm not asking for that.
Heading down Brimlin Street, basically, from the town. So we're like near the UWS campus and stuff like this. And it's nice, man. It's nice. It's good. Nice view out the window. We're on the top dancer, so we do get a really, really good view. And our neighbours are amazing. We've got amazing neighbours, so it's awesome. So awesome, man. Are you in Glasgow? You're in Glasgow, aren't you?
Yeah, I live in a wee village called Christon, which is nice. Is Greater Glasgow.
Nice.
So it's right on the outskirts. It's a wee tiny. Well, I say tiny now. It's like house building has got a lot bigger, but this is where I grew up.
Oh, nice! I didn't know that.
Yeah, so there's like two kind of conjoined villages, Christon and Muirhead they're called. I grew up in Muirhead. My house number was 23, another reason why it's called the 23 podcast show. And poor John, Colonel John Thomas McMustard to other people, or just John McLinden as he was known back then. John and I have known one another. He is indeed. Shout out John if you're tuning in. John and I have known one another since we were 5, so we started primary 1 together at St Barbara's in Muirhead.
Fancy that, man. I love stuff like that. Like it's a pure legacy you've got.
Yes, it goes back. It goes back a lot of years. There's a hell of a lot of history there.
Aye, he's a belter.
Which is all good. He is indeed top. One of the nicest men, soundest guys in music, and one of the soundest people I've ever known, if not possibly the. As close to him as I am my biological brothers as well. Huge loves
for the mustard man.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we'll talk about that as well. Just when you were talking about your internet and stuff like that, for a very short period before realising that I fucking hated it, and it's seldom that I use the word hate. But I'd been made redundant in a previous life. I used to be an energy management consultant.
All right.
For a couple of different companies. I have to say, like over the time I did that, most of it I really enjoyed, because I've been I've been an activist and political lobbyist for Greenpeace for over 10 years now. That's another reason why I have my Greenpeace tattoo.
Hey.
And if you're not concerned about the planet, then there's something wrong with you, because this is our fucking home.
Yeah.
There is no plan B. There is no planet B. So yeah. So the job itself entailed looking after, helping the largest energy users in Scotland procure, monitor, manage, and reduce their energy and carbon footprints. So from a standpoint of, it's actually I have this wee graphic in my graphic suite which I bring up, which is called Ikigai. I don't know if you've heard of it at all.
No.
Have you heard of Ikigai? Somebody's actually deleted that. I'll bring it back. Basically, it's a Venn diagram, which it's. Hold on 2 seconds.
By the way, right, I keep looking over in this direction like that. The reason why is because my camera is set up over here, but my screen to see your lovely face is over here. So everything wants to like look at you when you're talking to me. So if I kind of like going like that, I'm trying to be conscious to like make eye contact and that. Got a connection to the audience.
I know. Just do whatever's easiest for you, whatever you're most comfortable with. Because from time to time, I'm sort of skipping between screens if I'm setting up. Shout out the software that this is set up on. StreamYard is brilliant once you get your head round it. Shout out to Mark McGee and his You Call That Radio podcast. Mark's been doing over 50 of his quarantine streams on that since lockdown officially began just over 2 months ago now, 23rd of March. And he is indeed. He was one of the inspirations behind me. So myself, I got my 23 partner Andy Anderson, his brother Frankie. Shout out to them. We started this 23 podcast show thing at the beginning of last year. We started off with John was one of our first guests.
I remember it was done at the Barrowlands and stuff, was it not? That you did live performances and stuff as well.
The very first episode with John McMustard, Colin Hunter, Denny Smith and our band, we filmed in our Crown Point studio, which is where our band ended up going on to rehearse as well. And Andy's got his rehearsal space there. He had that from a band that he used to be in called the Hollows. Shout out to the Hollows, they're still going.
Yeah.
So we filmed our first episode in there. And then I got permission from Tom Joyce, my now boss manager, in the Barras Market and the Barrowland Ballroom to go in and film in there. So we filmed performances live, stripped back, acoustic over at the Barrowland sign in the ballroom over at the far wall. And we did some interviews down in the dressing room with quite a few people. Matthew Hickman from Brown Bear, we had Steg G and the Freestyle Master in talking about their in between. Lauren and Paul from the Sound Lab, and David Samadhi Soundscapes, and many more people. So that was all good. It was a lot of work doing the filming in there, and as you know, like the editing and all the rest of it. Then it came up to festival season. Festival season last year was my busiest yet. From the first bank holiday weekend in May right through until September, I was either mostly playing, working, comparing, or just attending as a music lover, 20 different festivals. It was like 2 festivals a weekend. So we obviously couldn't do. I mean, you get into festival season battle mode, and it's almost like you come back from a festival, you come down from it, you decompress, you just get enough time to do a washing and then do the load out back into the car again, and then you're away. So you're on that hamster wheel for 20 weeks. So we had to put the 23 podcast show into hibernation. But the genesis of it coming out here was going on lockdown firstly, going through the 5 stages of the grieving process and having a very depressed April with everything that was going on and catastrophising and seeing the absolute shock and horror of all the thousands of people sadly losing their lives and everybody else becoming infected with it, and just the Tories' absolute shit show and their handling of all of this. And Mark started, as you call that, radio. He very kindly got me on as a guest on that. We had a chat. My 23 partner Andy and one of our pals Rooney, they were wanting to start their own podcast, which is called have they got their graphics still in here? I think they should have something. It's called the Sound Pod podcast. So shout out to them. I'll give that a wee share in the comments. And then so we spoke to Mark. Mark very kindly gave us the discount code to get the StreamYard software, a premium account, and then we just started it, and it was just like diving right in at the deep end again, and here we are now in episode 12 with yourself, so thank you very much for coming on.
Hey, it was a nice little history lesson. Thank you. I might actually pick your brains about the StreamYard stuff and using that, because this has been a good reason for me to test out using my DSLR and stuff for filming, because I'd love to do live stream a gig as close to a gig as I can do at home, basically. So I'll be picking your brains later, mate.
Yeah, sure. The great thing with this software, and last week sometime, I'm forgetting days totally, man. But time has, I've got a very loose construct of time throughout this now. I've been on lockdown for 10 days. There you go. I don't even know days and weeks. I've been on lockdown for 10 weeks and 1 day exactly, as due to the large gatherings over 500 being the ruling that was given as guidance by ScotGov before the lockdown was official. The Barras Market and the Barrowland Ballroom just shut down anyway, and all the promoters cancelled their gigs. So before we shut down, I'd been doing weekly Sunday sessions in Barras Art and Design. So last night I decided, now having sort of the knowledge and experience and understanding of how StreamYard works, to start them back online. So shout out to the BAD team. They gave me permission to go ahead and start doing them online. And last night we were also joined by my wee pal Kenna up in the Highlands up in there. Shout out to Kenna if you're on again tonight. And we had an amazing. We were actually ended up being on for about 3 and a bit hours, just playing tunes between John Rush, Cheggy from the Rain Experiment, Robin Ashcroft, Connor Fife, probably the 2 most talented teenagers in Scotland, Kenna, and who did I miss there? Did I miss you? Oh no, I said everybody. So yeah, it's all been. I've been enjoying it, and for me, starting this up and also discovering an amazing online podcast on Netflix called The Midnight Gospel.
Oh, it's good, isn't it? It's really good. Here, by the way, mate, are you seeing me okay? Because I've frozen on my screen. You
have frozen, yeah. I've just noticed that.
Aye, I think I heard my camera click, but that's okay, right? I'm going to just switch it off and on again the old-fashioned way and see if that...
Okay.
If that
I'll just give it...
Hey!
You're back, right? I'll give you... that deserves...
I think it might time out. Aye, there's probably... I love it. I think there's probably a setting on my camera where it'll time out if it thinks it's dormant.
Okay.
This is do you know what I mean? I think it might time out. So, but it's cool. I just switch it off and on. Fine. Carry on.
Right. That's fine. Internet, 21st century, first world problems. I'll give a shout out to those in the comments that we've got on. So we've got Gaz Penders. All right, Gaz, thanks for tuning in. Gaz works with me in the Barrowland Ballroom doing our merch. He's also coach with the Glasgow Rocks. We've got John McMustard on. Hello, John. Hi, my people. Can't wait to hear the Becca Starr album. Are you on it, John? Becca can tell me that. Hi, Mary. Thanks for coming back. the Mustard Man, introduced me to all this a few years ago. Best thing ever. It's definitely a good way to get through lockdown, Mary. I would agree with you on that. It's saved my sanity anyway. John's slagging me for my memory like a sieve. Sometimes I say I've got a bad memory to people that know me, like Gaelic language, as you know, John. Sometimes I say to her, whenever we meet, I've forgotten that again. She's like, Blair, you've got the best memory of anybody I know. So I think I'm good with long-term memories, but there must be a time window that has to go by. Plus, also there was drunk Blair and then there was sober Blair. So obviously, drunk Blair can't remember that many things. But thanks for that nudge there, Johnny boy. Mary said Sunday sessions last night was absolutely brilliant. It was. We had a veritable panoply of outstanding musicians, all playing guitar, singing, keyboard, harmonica. It was brilliant. We'll be having more of them Sundays coming up. Becca, you're gone again. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm actually trying to sort out it on my phone now, just because I think that's probably a safer option. So it's just checking my camera and my mic on my phone if you fancy playing a wee tune or something.
I was just about to suggest that. Then what I'll do is I've got Speak No Evil lined up. So what I'll do just now, whilst Becca tries to fix her IT cam issues at her end, we will play her Speak No Evil video, which was released on the 23rd of May.
No, it was released on the 31st of January.
All right, it says 23rd of May. Uploaded, sorry. Right, okay. Got you, okay. Video track released 31st of January. Camera, Ori Karen. Editing, Becca Starr. Okay, so we'll play this video just now for you. It's 5 minutes, 27 seconds. We'll see you on the other side of that 23 universe. And hopefully Becca will be fixed.
I'll be back.
Becca will be back. We'll be back. Okay, enjoy the video.
Turn the page when the book is. You can't teach me yet because you've not learned. You can't set my plate when the tables turn. And I drift away cause there's no words to say. All the plans were unmade. Thinking but not speaking evil all of my time. Spoken like a true poet, an entity and so precocious. I was waiting for an outcome, how come? Pieces often seldom. Stretched out every muscle, no one denies the girl's got hustle. But somehow she lost the direction, under global family protection. The heart and soul, now the collective. A sister or brothers in number, torn asunder. Her love floods her, carried her out to tussle. And fuck me though, it took her a long time to crack. But with so many at our back, ready to attack, defend from colour at the black. Nothing's hurting tired souls again, cause this is the verse for the friends who often pretend it's nothing to them. But when you've literally saved a life, every now and again time, the sacred and divine need to know that they're the light and you're mine. You can't turn the page when the book is mine. You can't teach me yet because you've not learned. Can't set my plate when the tables turn. And I drift away, I drift away cause there's no words to say. All the plans were unmade. Thinking but not speaking evil all of my time. Sinfully she got pessimistic, you could have blinked and missed it. It happened overnight, but the vibes, they still stay the distance. Maybe the hesitance adopted since the incidents that coexist in our midst are symptoms of the dissonance. Do you feel sis? Do you feel it bro? I feel it too, just so you know. But man, I'm all so good to go. Just wanna know, have I really waited too long to put on a show? Hell no, better late than never, better safe than sorry. Better speak no evil when the lines are getting blurry. I know that I've caused concern, I know that I've caused some worry. I've really realised how many people there are out there for me. I really wanna prove you all right for supporting and believing, filling up the show, singing my words and letting me know I'm not alone. Turn the page when the book is blind. You can't teach me yet because you've not learned. You can't set my brain when the tables turn. And I drift away cause there's no words to say. All the plans were unmade. Thinking but not speaking evil all of my time. I've been hiding. I've been hiding. I've been hiding. Everything, nothing is here. I can't see the words and the pages unclear. But you can't turn the page when the book is burned. You can't teach me yet because you've not learned. Can't teach me. Can't set my brain when the tables turn. And I drift away cause there's no words to say. All the plans were unmade. Thinking but not speaking evil all of my time. All my time. All my time. All my time. Thinking but all of my time. All of my time. All of my time. All of my time. Thinking but not speaking evil all of my time.
Hello.
And we're back.
There we go.
We're back.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Could you hear me?
Amazing. Yes,
Yep.
I can. We have adapted.
The disco ball's out in appreciation of that video.
Yay!
The mascot, Jurgen the chicken. Jurgen the chicken.
Jurgen.
Yes.
Is he Swedish?
No. Deutsch. Deutscher.
Oh. Forgive me.
Jurgen after Jurgen Klopp. Bitte schon. Sie liebt dich. Right, we've got a few comments coming in there. Bob, how you doing, Bob? Thanks for tuning in, mate. Lovely stuff. John, amazing tune. Mary, changed over to Twitch. I do believe Twitch is the best platform. You can get us on Twitch for twitch.com/23universe, 23universe on all of them, except the YouTube. YouTube has some annoying rules where when you set up a YouTube channel, they'll give you youtube.com /, then like 50 combination, permutation of letters and numbers until you hit 100 subscribers, and then they'll let you claim whatever URL you want. So as soon as I hit 100 subscribers, I'll be changing it to youtube.com/23universe. So if you could do me a favour, I'm just going to share the channel link in the comments. We're at 80 subscribers at the moment, so we're not far away. If you've not already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That would be greatly appreciated. And Jurgen would really like that as well.
Hey.
So there was a question came in there before we went to the video and sorted out your IT problems, which now look fixed, which is good. Shuggy McInnes. We meet Shug and the Doug at quite a few festivals. He was at Lindisfarne last year with the Doug. Shout out to the wee Doug, Shug. And I also met him with Shannon McGoo. An amazing jungle DJ, Miss McGoo, at Glastonbury Festival last year as well. I think Shannon had her first gigs down there. Shug's a lovely man, one of the soundest guys you'll meet in festival land and outside of festival land. Lindisfarne, okay, well, just to put out some clarification on the remaining festivals, mostly in September, left that haven't been cancelled. Becca, were you due or were you booked or are you still on the lineup for any festivals that you want to mention at the moment?
No, I've got nothing I can mention at the moment, actually.
Okay, so my understanding as it stands, Shug, is it's not likely that it would go ahead based on the science in England and looking at the timing of their 5-point plan. So I can't say that definitely. I don't speak for Lindisfarne Festival. Obviously, we know the situation. Like, you only need to turn on the shit show of the news to watch the propaganda and try and make some sense of it. Having seen almost every festival so far cancel, you can go with your gut instinct on that, what you think it will be, but there's nothing definite yet. So all I would say is just keep an eye on the. What I'll do is actually I will share the Lindisfarne Festival event page into the comments for yourself then, Shug, and just keep an eye on that, mate. That's all I can say at the moment. The first festival we're all going to be at is just going to be such an explosion of euphoria and happiness. There's going to be a lot of tears and a lot of hugging. Is that going to be allowed? We'll see. What was the last festival you played?
What was the last festival I played? Good question. It was a couple of years ago at least now. Try to remember. Jeez. There was a pile I did with Becky over a couple of summers. I can't remember what the last one was actually. Do you know, I'm kind of like, I'm not very good with festivals because often they're wet, especially in Scotland, you know, and I'm a bit adverse to that. You know, I kind of like my creature comfort, so I get quite stressed out playing at festivals, and I've had so many electric shocks off of microphones, like, which is almost a guaranteed thing at a festival if it's wet, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's not my favorite type of gig to play, but I miss having the option, you know what I mean? I miss seeing the amazing lineups that have been happening the past few years, and it's been sad to see how this whole situation has affected not just like gigs in general, but you know, the festival scene, and it's hard. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to watch the recovery process for sure. Which there will be a recovery process. You know what I mean? We need to, I think there's a lot of doom and gloom. I like to, you might say it's quite naive of me, but it works for me, man. I like to stay as positive as possible and try and keep things in perspective as much as possible as well. So I kind of hope that the recovery process will be quicker and sooner than later, and that people's health is the most important thing, though, ultimately. Do you know what I mean? We don't want to make any mistakes, so got to be careful.
Correct. The phrase that I've been repeating is nothing's going to happen until it's legal, safe, and workable. Firstly, no promoter out there is going to get permission for like a public license, a public entertainment license, or getting the engagement of whatever local authorities that they need until we are at that point. One thing I would say is the minister, the UK Gov minister for, what do they call it again? Culture, leisure and sport. They had said that, I'm just going to use football as an example, right? Because obviously it's in the entertainment industry, whether people like it or not. It may be a sport, but it's also entertainment. So specifically talking about that, because the German league has restarted, the South Korean league has restarted, albeit in empty stadiums. There's been some funny stories about what's been going on in the stands and stuff like that. But they've been restarted because they just believed there's financial reasons behind it, but also they believed that it would be a boost to morale just for people on lockdown at home, that they would then be able to start watching it. That
makes sense, man.
Exactly. It's like it's a stepping stone through this portal and into whatever the new normal is going to be. So he had said that as soon as they can get football restarted, which is looking like in England next month, Liverpool players are back in training, as are all the other clubs. So all of them are being daily tested. They're being split into sort of smaller, minimising risk, socially distancing training groups, like control groups, so that they know who's in contact with who, and then they can daily test and trace every single player. And then they arbitrarily put on a figure of something like 350 people in total could get into each stadium. So that's everybody that's going to be filming it, everybody from Team A and everybody from Team B, and all the officials and whoever else needs to be there. And move the football to the side, though. But if that's coming back next month, then they will want other forms of entertainment to boost morale as well. So that keeps me hopeful that we can see music in some form and maybe experience that as a community in some way again together, because playing music is great, but it's about the community of people who are there, because you just become, you know yourself, being an artist, a musician, performer, you get into that flow state, which is just a beautiful symbiosis when it just works, and it's you, the music, and the audience, and you're all one.
Yeah, man, it's beautiful. I also have the perspective of a promoter as well, obviously, in this situation, with the showcase nights and stuff like that I run. So
is that in the bungalow again, did you say?
Yeah, it's at the bungalow. So we were already kind of talking about sort of switching it up because it was on a Tuesday, which my choice. I like a challenge, and the name of the event is Choose Wisely. Do you know what I mean? So it would make no sense for it to be any other night. But we've been talking about moving it to a Sunday afternoon to make it more accessible to younger people and stuff like that.
Sorry to interrupt you, where is that Choose Wisely graphic? And I'll just put it into the graphic suite whilst you're talking, and I'll let people see the last one. Where would I get one?
Well, there's a page, if you just search Choose Wisely, that it's the only one on Facebook.
Okay, what I'm just going to do before I forget, I'm just going to share that last video there that we watched of Becca's, the brilliant Speak No Evil. I'm just going to give that a share in the comments. Similarly, pop that into your watch list for later on. Please give Becca's YouTube channel a share as well. Before I forget, usually one of the first things I always do just when we kick off is just share Becca's Facebook page as well. So if you could please go on and give her a link on that as well. So choose wisely.
Yes, please. Yeah, choose wisely. But obviously that's sort of up in the air at the moment. But I'm hoping if we come back that it would be a more accessible showcase, because it was like, over 18s before and stuff. So fingers crossed. Ultimately, I love like running open mic nights and showcases and things like that. So I'll end up, when I'm able to get back to that, or maybe I won't, who knows, because I've got all sorts of stuff going on with myself at the moment. So we'll see, man. But I love it. I love putting on gigs, and I love meeting new artists. And like it was quite frustrating because obviously I had just moved to Paisley, and literally like 5-6 days or something after we moved here, the lockdown happened. I'd already got word like the week or two before that Bungalow was closing and stuff, but I was only just starting to like get in touch with Paisley musicians and like trying to book people. But obviously, usually within anyone that's gigging a lot, you need to give like 3-4 weeks notice. So I was just starting to like book Paisley artists for this night, and then everything kind of stopped. So I never really got to make that many new Paisley music pals. So I'm a bit like, Okay, it'll be a while until I get to.
well, not really, because I can instantly connect you to one of Paisley's favourite sons and best musicians, who's John Rush, who I also happen to manage through my 23 music management. John.
Yeah, give me a new pal.
Yeah. So see on the poster there, John's the 1 second in from the left with the NHS rainbow. Phenomenal singer-songwriter. I'll give his Facebook page a share in the comments as well. So just after this, Becca, obviously everything's saved in the comments. You can go in and retrieve that. Give John a shout. John will give you. John will give you a long arm of names.
Amazing.
This is me doing my long arm impression. John will give you a lot of Paisleyonian musicians.
Paisleyonian, is that the term?
I'm not sure, but that's the one I use. Or is it Paisleyite? I don't know. If you're from Paisley,
please tell us.
Yes, let us know in the comments if we've got that wrong. Mary's changed over to Twitch. She's loving you. She said. Sharon up in Glenrothes. Sorry, you're late. Sharon, you're never late. You arrive whenever you need to arrive. That's
Glenrothes.
With time.
Did you
Is
say
that where you're from?
I'm not from there, but fun fact, I lived in Glenrothes from when I was about 1 year old-ish to about 5 years old.
Okay.
And then we moved to Dumfries. So that's another reason why my accent's really weird, because I had a very early Fifer experience when I was learning to talk that I don't think I've ever really shook. So there you go, fun fact. Hi Glenrothes. Glenrothes massive.
What part of Glenrothes? Who knows?Maybe Sharon lives in your old home now. Now that would be a coincidence. Shout out to John Suter. Thanks for tuning in, Soapy. Music legend, part of the Barrowland Ballroom Hall of Fame team. He thought he had subscribed to the 25th University YouTube channel. It has now 81. Cheers, my man. Does Susan have her own account? Get Susan to subscribe as well, please. Mary, what was there more comments? Yeah, I thought I seen another one from Mary there. Mary's have YouTube up on my TV on background. We're on the big telly. We're on Mary's big telly now. Sharon's found us on the big telly as well. That's good. It's good to know. And John, Buddies. That's the nickname of the football team. You're remembering that from the Panini football albums that we used to trade the stickers in the playground at St Barbara's, when you try and get the shinies and you get rid of your doublers. But
I love the way you point with that rubber chicken, by the way, Dave. I love the way you accent what you're saying with a point for the chicken. What you're talking about, John, is
What we're talking about here
what we're talking
is
about.
a blatant disregard of authority. Name the beginning of that song. What was that from? What we're talking about here is a blatant disregard for authority.
Oh, is it Fun Loving Criminals? No. That's
before that. Do you want a clue?
Go on, here's a clue.
The last decent music they released were double albums.
Like that narrows it down.
Use your illusion.
I don't know. Oh, I look dumb on the podcast now. I don't get the references. Do you know, this is the second time today someone made a reference that I didn't get. I'll not get into it. Someone called me a Cenobite and I had to Google it, and it turned out a Cenobite's a thing from Hellraiser. Never mind. Anyway.
Okay. I'm just going to share I'm just going to share my screen with yourself in the 25th universe. We don't need any audio. I'm just going to show you. There you go.
I can't see that. No, I'm on my wee phone now, so my eyesight's absolute gash, man.
No bother. It's Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses.
Is it?
The beginning of Civil War. What we've got here is a basic lack of communication. I got that wrong. Sorry, what we've got here is failure to communicate.
Failure to communicate. I used that sample because it's from a movie, and I ended up using that sample in a medley I did. So
that's right. John thinks it might be spelled buddies. You're right about the football team nickname there. Mary's getting the Fife accent now. She's been there so long. Mary's up in Fife. Yes, John, well spotted, Mr. Suter. Sharon doesn't get it either. All right, okay, the music reference.
Thank you. Make me feel better.
Lou 2-3.
Feel dumb.
Yes, we've got to be free. Sharon saying, do you think Guns N' Roses are gash? Guns N' Roses were phenomenal. One of my favourite bands growing up. Is that not the tune from You Call That Radio? And I think I know what you're talking about. Maybe there is possibly a bit of the sample from the same movie. I'm not sure. So your discovery of music. I need to make my point here. Your discovery of music.
Thank you,
Becca.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll take you seriously now. Yep, you're pointing the chicken.
Okay.
It's real. Mm-hmm.
When and where and what is your first memory of music?
In Fife, in Glenrothes, ironically enough. In the living room in the house we lived in Glenrothes, obviously. Michael Jackson was a big one, man, to be honest. Some of my earliest memories are things like the Bad music video, because that was on the telly a lot for a time, and the choreography and things like that. And his voice was undeniably incredible. We'll not get into other stuff, obviously. But I think he probably influenced a lot of people around that time just with the performance. He was enigmatic and charismatic, and it just looked like the coolest thing in the world. But I always had an interest in music. I actually have my very first instrument here in my studio, and it's this wee toy thing that apparently I used to bash out jingles from TV ads, or Fraggle Rock was my jam in a big way. Loved Fraggle Rock.
Oh, fucking love Fraggle Rock too.
Yeah, it was amazing. All of that, all of Jim Henson's stuff and Frank Oz's stuff is just glorious for music as well as entertainment. Just rewatched Muppets Take Manhattan the other week when we didn't have the internet. We rewatched all our DVDs. Rewatch the Muppet movies. Now is the time for the Muppets. We need the Muppets now more than ever. But anyway, tangent. So there are no tangents here, Becca. It's all just stream of consciousness.
The plan is there is no plan. Expect the unexpected in the 23 universe.
I love that. That's my favourite, just randomly. But like I've got like my parents, like, you know, there's videos I've got, like VHS videos of me like 2 years old and 4 years old and actively sort of, you know, becoming very, because I was quite a shy, anxious child, to be honest, but I became very animated and very like responsive to music. So it's just always been, I don't know, it's just right. It's just my thing.
Well, let's give a wee shout out to Fraggle Rock.
Yay! Oh, look at them. I pure love the Dozers. Have you ever seen that people make like these cake art things with Dozers? Right. Like them building their wee scaffolding and stuff. Oh. Aye.
Oh man, see, just seen that. That is, I'm getting.
Is it not warming your heart?
Totally, right? Man. I'm getting teary-eyed here.
Man. And you got to remember, the Fraggles had their like tribulations and shit, man. Like, what was the name of the big hairy things that like were always trying to? They grew radishes and stuff. Mind them.
Well, they were. There was always that threat of being caught.
Right. Man, they had some predicaments, but they kept a smile on their face and a song in their heart, and that's what we all need to do, man.
They did indeed. Which just exactly what you've said there is going to tie in quite nicely for Bob. Shout out to Bob. I think Bob lives in Leith. Bob and the family, Lisa and the wee man. Bob's asked me if I could say graphics suite again. Graphics suite. There you go. Bob, you'll be pleased to know that when we were talking about coming out of this portal onto the other side, things will recover. So whilst we were talking about that, there was something quite specific that popped into my mind. Again, the stream of consciousness. So when I was thinking about how we will recover from this, what we're going to need to display is a really strong sense of solidarity with Alan Partridge's bouncing back.
Man, so,
Bob, bounce back ability. That's what we need on the other side of this. So that I was uploading that.
Look at his face. Oh, it's majestic, innit? Look at him go. Here, we recently watched Saxondale. Have you ever seen Saxondale? That's another.
Of course I did. I've seen everything. Everything he's ever done.
Fuck, man. Oh, it's so good. Right, everyone, if you haven't seen Saxondale, please do yourself a favour. It'll give you such a hoot. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
anyway.
It's classic. It's like a cross between Minder and Spinal Tap.
Innit? Oh, I love This Is Spinal Tap. Oh, I've been eyeing that up to watch as well recently, actually. It's a classic. We're going to talk about so many movies and make movie references. Would you say, like, you know, because you do a bit of writing and stuff yourself, don't you? Would you say that, like, you take as much sort of, you know, inspiration from pop culture things like movies and television shows as much as you do, like, music and your contemporary peers and things like that? Because I think I do in a big way, man.
Totally. I mean, when you just look from the moment you open your eyes, and to use a beautiful Bjork song, "Arise in My Senses" from her last album. I'd love to play it, but the copyright bastards would shut us down because it's just what a video. Actually, I'm just going to find it and I'll
the visuals for that whole project were like. She was like she is like an alien, isn't she, man? She's not of this world.
Aye, see to me, the greatest compliment I can pay Bjork, right? She's in a league of her own. She just reminds me of the primeval power of Iceland as a geological country. Like, if anybody was the country of where they came from, Bjork is Iceland, right? But
yes, she's like a geyser, man.
Totally. Like the greatest compliment I can pay her is that she's the female David Bowie, as far as I'm concerned. And even when I say that, I still feel like that there's even a little bit of 1% of disrespect even to say that, because she's Bjork and David Bowie's Bowie. But just in terms of like drawing a comparison, like Bowie was the greatest.
That they like their theatrics, like for that like sense of theatre, they're very similar. Do you know what I mean? Like obviously as well, Bowie's final project, like in the video, or like Black Star, was like it was like a movie. You know what I mean? It was like so much depth as well, like in the lyricism and the delivery. Even was powerful stuff, man. Like an absolute artist. They're artists. Yep. There's like people who are performers and singers and stuff, but then there's this rare occasion where you get an artist completely to the bone. That's what Bowie and Bjork are, I think. Yep.
Totally.
There's a difference, you know what I mean? Yep. Like amazing, both of them. Love them.
And that reminds me, there's an image, regular viewers of the 23 podcast show. If you've just joined us, thank you. Welcome into the 23 universe. We're joined here tonight by Becca Starr, now out in Paisley.
Yep.
My all-time favourite comedian, philosopher, prophet is the late great William Melvin Hicks. And as I was pulling myself out of my depressed April and then into stage 5 of the grieving process acceptance, I was reading a lot of Hicks, and this quote in particular.
Class.
And I think that to war on our Partridge, that's first class. He knew what he was talking about, but we may be on lockdown, but I'm now starting to see from the people that I know, the musicians that I know, the musicians that I manage, shout out to John Rush and the Rain Experiment, but they're getting kitted out at home now with like really good equipment for playing online gigs. But shout out to Neil and Rachel Ann from Keep It Creative, who were on episode 8 with me last week. They were talking about all the amazing stuff that they've been doing to help people, creatives on lockdown, still stay creative. And throughout all of this, whilst outside the window, if we're healthy and we've got some money in the bank and food in our cupboards, then we are the lucky ones, because it's an unfathomable, and to use the word that people are probably getting bored of now, it's unprecedented, the unprecedented circumstances of it all. And there's way over 50,000 probably in total people sadly have died from this now in the UK. And a lot of that has been down to the absolute abject fuck up that the Tories have fucking done with us. But I'm trying to not go down as negative a tone with that anymore. So just to distract me from that, we'll fire through some of the comments there, then we'll come back to Saxondale. Go on, Becca. Go Glenn Rothus. John Suter, absolutely gash, pissing myself laughing. I love the word gash in terms of something's rubbish, something's gash. John, everyone from Paisley is called a buddy, an old corruption of the word for bodies. Okay, there you go.
All right, nice one. Okay, nice one.
Jurgen
near me called that.
Jurgen approves. Bob's giving me the thumbs up for the Partridge reference there. It was first class. Bounce back ability, Bob. You know it, brother. Bounce back ability. That's what we need. Actually, that deserves to come back. Let's bring Alan Gordon, Partridge's beautiful face.
Aha!
Aha! Let's embrace our inner bounce back ability throughout this.
Always.
John loved Fraggle Rock as well.
Yay! You've got good taste.
Of course he did. I'm a wee bit worried, like the sort of wistful nostalgia. If I leave that on screen for too long, man, I'm probably.
Oh, look at them though.
I know. How good was Jim Henson?
Oh.
Now that
get me started, I will not stop.
Well, that's why we're here. I mean, there is an artist. I loved you.
Exactly.
Do you remember the video?
Which video?
He did with Supergrass, pumping on your stereo.
Oh my God! Did he do that?
He did, aye. Well, the Henson Productions.
Henson Company. So it's like his sons or something, isn't it?
I can't remember.
I didn't know that. That's amazing. He was an artist.
Somebody might know in the comments whether Jim was still alive without me googling absolutely everything that we're talking about. Wait a minute, power of the disco ball. The power of the disco ball compels someone in the comments to tell us whether Jim Henson was alive when they made the Supergrass pumping on the stereo video. Okay.
I know. I didn't even know that was him. That's awesome. It kind of makes sense now when I think about it, because now that you've said that, it reminds me, like, the way the mouth mechanisms moved in those puppets and pumping in your stereo was the same as the, like, locks that were in Muppet Christmas Carol. You know, the scene where they come and the locks are like, it looks like the same. Oh, look, Ori Karen's floating about, checking if I need a cup of tea, which I do. Do you want to come in and say hello quickly? We're talking about the Muppets.
What's up? How you doing, Ori?
There you go. You'll need to come a bit lower. See, it's awfully small.
You alright, my man? Yeah. Can you hear me?
He can't hear you. Can you hear him now? Can you hear now?
Can you hear me?
How many shiggles do you take in your tea, my man? By the way, I'm sharing the hell out of this. Next door, it's popping off me. I've got my watch party on the go. It's all going down.
Yeah.
Gonna make her a cup of tea. You're doing well, love you.
Well,
thank you very much.
Thank you. Everyone needs to start watch parties. Well done. Well done.
Becca, ask him to make one for me as well, please. I'm empty.
Alright, darling. Dave's empty. Needs a refill. What are you taking, Dave?
Green tea.
Green tea, darling. We don't have it. Just make it happen. You'll make it happen. Don't you worry.
Green tea and my Barrowland Ziggy.
Oh, that's a peach. That's a peach of a cup, mate.
Well, the Ziggy was designed by our good pal Marcus Reynolds Hislop.
Love it.
It's brilliant, isn't it? And
it's a peach.
So I made the connection which got Marcus the gig when they were doing the Our Willie's Big Bucket Trail with my boss and manager in the Barras Market and Barrel and Ballroom. Shout out to Tom, absolute legend of two famous, very, very famous Glasgow institutions. So
yes.
I said to Tom, listen, I've got an artist for you who could do an amazing job. And then I had a wee chat with Marcus and I was like, right, okay, let's get a couple of Dijon references in there.
Amazing.
So,
love it.
The shirt's yellow, obviously, for the yellow movement.
I'm coming in for a proper look now.
Yeah. And the silver boots are disco boots with disco tiles on them.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
And then there are also some more covert 23 references because Marcus and I really like that number. Shout out to Marcus also. Going back to William Melvin Hicks, I wake up every morning in my bedroom when I'm in my bedroom and I look at this beautiful painting. It's just a ride.
LR.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's just a ride, and that's also what one of Bill's most famous quotes. It's just a ride. It's always a choice between fear and love. The eyes of fear want us to buy guns, buy bigger guns, lock ourselves behind doors, keep ourselves closed off. Whereas the eyes of love see all of us as one. Here's what we can do to change the world to a better place overnight. No job, no savings, no work, no nothing. All we need to do is take all that money that we spend on defence every single year, use that money, spend it feeding, clothing and educating the poor all over the world, not one single human being excluded, and then we can all explore inner and outer space together in peace together as one.
That's me got my tea.
You've got your tea. Just
yeah,
where's
I absolutely thumbs up everything you just said, and I'm going to beam you psychically the green tea, all right? It will fill. You just need to.
Well,
work it out.
what I usually do is just use the video breaks to just go and get a refill, because I can still hear you with my Bluetooth headset, and my kitchen is literally like a few chickens away. Imagine 10 Jurgens side by side. And that's how far away my kettle is. So
listen, you can put a video on, but guaranteed I'm going to psychically beam you a green tea while the video's on.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, how about we watch your next video? There you go. Bob agrees. It really is simple, Bob, isn't it? It's just a ride. It's just a choice between fear and love. Siempre. Bill Hicks is the man. He is indeed. So, shall we watch another one of your videos?
Sure, let's do it.
What one?
I guess since Ori just made a wee cameo, we should probably play the new one. It just feels sad. It's a bit of a headbanger, so it can bring us up with a bit of energy and stuff. And
okay.
You'll get hyped for me psychically beaming you the tea. That's what it'll do.
Good. Because we are
blow your mind.
at a quantum physics level. It has been scientifically proven we are all interconnected across the vastness of the universe through Bell's theorem. Google that. Spooky action at a distance, Einstein called it, and he couldn't explain it, but quantum theory and quantum mechanics does. And we're all interconnected in the 23 universe. Here we are. We're all here as one.
Yeah.
Experiencing this moment in the space-time continuum. Before I share Becca's video, one thing I'm all about on the 23 podcast show is doing whatever we can. I think we're in this portal and we need to be building strong foundations for us all, the creative community and the wider community, to come out it in as best, bounce back ability. We need to lay the foundations for bounce back ability. So whenever we're talking about things, I commonly will just be giving their Facebook page a share in the comments. So if you could please link it. So I'm just about to give the Bungalow Facebook page a share in the comments. If you could give that a link, please.
Yay.
It's a venue very close to our heart as well. We had a sellout gig there. In 2016, bizarrely, our 2016 gig tour poster read The Bungalow, Paisley, Zandari Festa, Seoul, South Korea, The Weavers, Condoric, Cumbernauld.
What a lineup, man. Yes. That's all you need. That's all you need.
Expect the unexpected in the Dijon-verse. From Paisley to Korea to Cumbernauld. We were on the scene, living the dream from Uchtermuchty to Aberdeen.
Yeah.
And Paisley, Korea, and Cumbernauld. So please give the Bungalow Paisley page a wee link. Another reason why I'm doing this.
Can I tell you a little something about what happened at the Bungalow at the weekend, if you don't mind?
Sure.
As well, why people should go to the Bungalow page.
Is it libelous?
How do you mean?
No, I'm joking.
Oh, another reference I don't get. Number 3 of the day. Right. Well, essentially, their roof collapsed and flooded out their band room at the weekend.
Oh, for fuck.
Right. And they are in the process on Saturdays of taking donations to try and help out the local community. So, food for food banks, clothes, bedding, baby supplies, things like this. And they've been unable to do that. And if I remember correctly, they've got a crowdfunding page at the moment to generally to help towards maintaining costs during this time. But I reckon now more than ever they'll be needing some donations if anyone can spare any money, because now they're going to have to pay for repairs, and it was really bad. Like, I saw a video of it, and I was meant to go down and help out on Saturday, but it ended up not happening. So the Bungalow is a great organisation, and that's a really bad bit of luck. So they really deserve, if you can afford to help out a little bit, it's a really good thing to help out. So I'm pretty sure there's a link to a crowdfunding page. So check it out. It's good.
Oh, okay. I'm on their page just now. I've shared that in the links there anyway. I'm guessing. Right, their last post there on the 23rd of May. To anyone that's bringing donations down today, unfortunately, our roof is leaking really bad, so we can't accept any as they may get damaged. Apologies to you all, and we'll keep you updated on when we will be able to accept donations again. Right, okay. So just please check out, we're about to play another video of Becca's, also with Ori. It just feels sad. It's 2 minutes 52. So whilst we're playing that, you can go in and...
I'll beam you the tea. I'll start now.
Time to boil the kettle and make tea. And please go on and check out what Becca was saying there about the bungalows.
Bungalow.
Crowdfunder. So if you just bear with me a second, I'm just doing the search for your song.
I got requests over the past couple of months to put stuff up on YouTube. You see, I've kind of abandoned my YouTube channel quite a lot the past few years, so I just took it was the initiative because I've seen a lot of podcast people have been using YouTube for showing people's music, so it seemed like the right time to upload a few things. So that's why a few things got added at the weekend there, you see.
Well, definitely that's. But during this lockdown, which now officially in the UK has been 2 months and 2 days, I'm fairly certain that a lot of people, well, actually, I've got some things to say about that, which some sort of mind-blowing research in times of online activity and how it's now affecting, how it's massively affecting society and will when we come out of this portal with our bounce back ability. So I'll share that on the other side. So I've got the video lined up. It Just Feels Sad, produced by Ori, co-produced by Becca, video by OCD Productions, Family Star Media. Yeah. And there's more to come. We'll talk about the impending arrival of your next album. So I will just mute myself and Becca, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you.
You know, when women do it, it just feels sad. Man, I'm delirious, shit has been getting serious. You're not a female rapper, you're a mouthpiece on your period. Get back in the kitchen, you're killing my vision of marital bliss, cause you insist that you're a lyricist. Bitch, please, I don't need these artistic steez, just need a piece that doesn't knock it with our teeth. So many compliments you think you've paid us have come off more unnerving than a clown with a Kalashnikov. And while the clown shoes fit, try him on for a bit. It's all jokes just like that script that you'd spit. And that shit's like 2 decades old. Your chat is cold, authority is absurd. You're not just bold, and you're moving, so you're winning and you're losing out, thinking you're competing and you're bringing clout, like check it out. And yet you want to comment on the women that are coming with precision. Watch us move with more than beauty, man, we're breaking down divisions.
I do. I think about you day and night. It's only right to think about the girl you love and hold her tight. So happy together.
What that woman said, true words, crucified a boy that cried. Wolf Blue Medusa construct, I make him cry. Truth, busty in the booth with better garments. Trust me, I don't see a woman in my vision spitting, that's an artist. Thoughts at the back of the head, it's quite alarming thing. Hip-hop is dead, won't let a bitch revive its carcass. See a curly silhouette in the darkness, sick. Thoughts will make him fit for a hearse, she's double parking. I had a drink with her, she bought me mine and tipped the barman. You were acting Spartan, getting lost at scene. I got some coins to part and pink tartan, ripping up the scene and causing carnage. Sick to give a woman's touch to this house it's been tarnished. Leaves up, sand it down, apply the varnish. Hang these dafties for the rafters. Think these femcies have no game, they're no rappers. That's a mind frame to get drowned out in laughter. Stick bastards couldn't touch half a track, my girl master.
I think about you day and night. It's only right to think about the girl you love and hold her tight. So happy together.
In all one women.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me? You're gone
I
visually.
can hear you. The for some reason it like closed there and I reopened it, but it's a bit black now, obviously.
Okay.
Let me try turning my video on and off again and see if that works.
No bother. I'll just go through some of the comments there. Lou Hector Berserk played the bungalow for my 30th. Nice one. I bet you that was some night. Love Hector Berserk. Actually, talk about them. So one of my entry bands into Scottish hip hop. Mary's loving that tune as well. I'm just going to. We've lost Becca at the moment while she deals with her IT issues. I'm just going to give that YouTube video that we've just played for It Just Feels Sad a wee share there in the comments if you want to pop that on.
You can still hear me though, right? I am still here, I promise. I'm lurking.
In the shadows.
Yeah, I'm being mysterious.
Well, what I'll do is I'll split the screen again, and as opposed to a black void, nature abhors a vacuum. So in your place, I'll bring up a picture of Saxondale.
Yeah.
So that's you've Saxondale is now your 23 podcast show avatar.
Yes, it's so accurate. It's crazy.
And what are the chances?
Do you think I should quickly leave and then come back in?
Yeah.
See if that like resets it, bro.
Let's ask Jurgen. Jurgen says.
What's he say? Yes, that's a crazy yes, man.
Switch you off and switch you back on again.
I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna matrix myself. Okay, I'll be back.
Okay. And then there was one. So we'll see. We'll hopefully see Becca back very soon once she resets the matrix at her end. They're trying to shut us down, or maybe it's the telecoms cab outside her Paisley Street. Yay!
I'm back.
You're back. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. You look lovely as ever, my lover.
Thank you, my dear. Likewise, I would just like to commend you on your incredible bouncing back ability there.
Right. I get knocked down, but I get up again because they're never going to keep me down. Right?
This is true.
I missed out. Did people say nice things about that tune? I missed it because I was away and back again.
Yeah, Mary said she was loving it. Loving it, loving
Yes.
it. Sharon's happy you're back.
Yay.
let us know in
Sharon,
the
I'm
comment-
happy I'm back to Hen. On the telly? Am I on Sharon's telly? I hope so.
I think you're on. I think Sharon and Mary said that you're on both of their big tellies.
Amazing.
How does the disco ball look on your big tellies, Mary and Sharon?
This goes up on
she-
YouTube after, doesn't it? Or is it just
It
live?
does. No. It's saved in perpetuity, or until
Awesome.
the Matrix collapses in on itself, or somebody finds the main plug for the entire Matrix and just unplugs it.
Unplugs the internet.
Mate, there will be a lag between Twitch and YouTube, Mary. So I'm not sure why you've got both open, but obviously there's a lot going on across the world on both platforms. Twitch is very interesting, I have to say, because when we've been on that, there must be an option where you can go on. Well, there is. I've seen it. So you can just go on and you can see what's being streamed live all around the world. So we pulled in somebody from Brazil when Medicine Men, I think, were on. Shout out to Medicine Men. They've got their new album out, A Different Port. Go and check that out. So there's obviously like the big server farms that they have for Google or whoever owns Twitch. Probably Google as well. I don't know. Sharon was giving a shout out for your Chumbawamba reference there. Interesting story about Chumbawamba.
Oh, bring it on. I'm ready to receive this. A Chumbawamba story. Right, go. I'm ready.
Do you like Chumbawamba?
I can't say that I actively dislike Chumbawamba. I am neutral.
Okay. Well, firstly, the preamble to this is in the comments. I'm about to share the preview BBC Radio 4 podcast of How to Burn £1 Million. Outrageous comedy drama telling the true story of chart-topping agents of chaos, the KLF. Listen to all 6 episodes. When Gavin Mitchell was on our show with the Archduke,
yes, I tuned in for a bit.
Did you? Okay, so you probably if you'll have seen that the Archduke Mortimer Chester Winthorpe, he got red carded. He was 2 bottles of Chianti and Bloody Mary's deep, and a pished hole. So he got red carded, and then our John came on when he could, and we had some phenomenal chat. So I had asked Gavin. Gavin had asked me, do I need to prepare anything? And because Gavin's an actual professional at what he does, an incredible, he's a legit person. He's a legit. He's
so nice.
Possibly
I've only met him twice, I think, ever, but both times such a lovely, pleasant man. Just such a nice way about him. Very nice person.
Aye.
I was a wee bit nervous to meet him because he's Bobby. Do you know what I mean? You cannot deny. I love Bobby. Wait, no, we need to retract that before someone samples it and uses it or something, man. But Bobby the barman is the man, the main man. So
I never actually thought of that.
Flesh was a moment.
Yeah. Well, we all love Bobby.
I walked heat first into that one, man. And in my community, that is a stupid error I just made, but it's cool. Move on from it.
Hold on.
Oh my God, what's happening now? What is happening? Yes.
There's a moment during the 23 podcast show where I put a headband on. So
right, I love it.
Just when we're talking about we all love Bobby.
Hold on. Right. Let me see if I can. Fashion. Is that a strong look? Aye.
That's decent.
This is a new look, man.
We
don't know why. Participating though. I'm into it.
We have a song called Gay Icon, as you'll know.
Yes, it's a brilliant tune.
We are all for LGBTQI rights, and
damn straight.
I'm wearing this for two reasons: solidarity with them. I am heterosexual. Everybody has their own choice about who and what they want to do, and if they're doing that between consenting adults in the privacy of their own home,
it's none of your business.
Exactly. It's nobody's business. Love is love. Me and Jurgen have a very close relationship.
I'm not going to ask any questions, mate.
Love is love. I've been on lockdown.
He looks shocked. He looks in a perpetual state of shockedness. I'll say that. He's seen some shit, hasn't he?
He has.
Yeah.
He's. Jurgen managed to get out pre-lockdown and went to Peru and did an ayahuasca ceremony.
Oh, did he? Oh, he's sorted then, man. He's good. He's good.
With Quechuan shamans who are descendants of the Incas and the Peruvian Amazon in the foothills of the Andes outside the ancient Incan capital of Cusco. So
did he isolate when he came back from all this? Because he should have.
He did. I put him in his wee chicken coop. He self-isolated for 14 days in his wee chicken coop out the back garden. So he's fine.
Yes.
So
good. Sensible.
Back to Chumbawamba. See,
right.
I left the mental pieces of bread out there, and I came back.
You found your breadcrumbs, mate.
I did find the breadcrumbs. So I'm about to share in the comments the link for How to Burn £1 Million, which is a story about the KLF and their previous incarnation, the justified entrance of Moo and the KLF to achieve some notoriety. They were also pretty pissed off. They had a massive #1 song as the Time Lords, which was called Doctor in the TARDIS. Doctor Who, hey, the TARDIS, Doctor Who, hey, the TARDIS, which sadly sampled Gary Glitter at the time. It went to #1. It was a time. He was a popular
chap in his day. You know what I mean? He was a popular chap in his day.
Well, he was a wrong'un. He's in that camp with fucking Savile and all the rest of those stoats, scum, subhuman scum.
Aye.
So
at the time, it's not that big of a shock why people were sampling him in his day. You know what I mean? I'm assuming that sample has since been removed, essentially, is what I'm getting at.
Well, you can probably, well, not really, no. I mean, like, to fast forward, see, in 1996, when Oasis, 1995 or 96, when Oasis released their second album, What's the Story, Morning Glory, the opening song on it, Hello, it's good to be back, that's a Gary Glitter sample as well. So every copy of Oasis What's the Story, Morning Glory that is sold, Gary Glitter still gets royalties from that. And that went on to become, of course, it's his royalties. It doesn't change because he's a paedophile and a criminal. And that went on to become one of the highest selling albums of all time in the UK. I think at one point, 1 in every 5 homes had a copy of Oasis's second album. So anyway, Chumbawamba, the justified entrance of Moo, the KLF, they after they'd had the #1 with the Time Lords, Doctor and the TARDIS, they backstage, John Lydon, also known as Johnny Rotten, when he was with Public Image Limited, they'd been on the Top of the Pops, and he came backstage, and he knew them because they'd been involved in the music industry for a while. Bill Drummond used to be an A&R man for Sony. He was the manager of Echo and the Bunnymen. He was big in Japan. and various other music projects and stuff like that. So he knew the industry inside out, and him and Jimmy decided that, you know what we're going to do? We're going to become anarchists, and like the Justified Ancients of Moo, who in historical mythology, or possibly true, I can't 100% reveal that, but the Justified Ancients of Moo were a group of people, a group of revolutionaries who were fighting against the original Illuminati all the way back in the days of Atlantis, when Lemuria and Atlantis was a place. So the people from Lemuria were called, it was also called Moo. So the Justified Ancients of Moo throughout the history of time have been the good guys fighting against the bad guys, and they've continued the fight throughout all this time up to modern day. And they use art and music and culture as being sort of like cultural peaceful terrorists in order to fight back against the status quo. And that's why art is always revolutionary, because most of the time the origins of revolution come from art. And even when you think about going back to like the First World War with the Dada movement and the Dadaists and Dadaism and the origins of that, they decided to make their art so absurd and protest at the absurdity of the industrial killing of the First World War, where that was the real first mechanical war, where two opposing sides, without seeing one another, without stabbing one another with a sword or a bayonet, they could be miles apart on no man's land, just using these fucking incredible weapons of mass destruction to completely obliterate tens of thousands of people, usually men, in an instant. So the Dadaist movement came out of that, and that's very much continued. And you were talking about like where you get all your influences from. Well, obviously all these things. I mean, no Gallagher himself, I think he's a bit of a tadger with some of the things that he's said previously and said now, but we all make mistakes. We're the only thing we're perfect at. The only thing humans are perfect at is being imperfect. But he did say, I mean, even based on like Oasis had a number of upheld legal claims against him as part of Creation Records Sony for copyright infringement. So they paid Gary Glitter, they paid the New Seekers for the Coca-Cola song that was in All Around the World. They paid Stevie Wonder for the Uptight sample on one of their songs. They paid T-Rex for Cigarettes and Alcohol. Down, 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 down. That's the T-Rex song. So he called himself a cultural magpie. So Chumbawamba, the Bill Drummond and Jimmy Cauty, they wrote this infamous thing called the Manual, also known as how to have a number one the easy way. You can still get it online if you're interested. Search for it. And at the time, based on everything that it's an interesting read. It's a bit dated because it's based on how to become number one in the charts in the 1980s. But Chumbawamba read it, right? Calvin Harris from Dumfries, he read it.
I went to high school with him.
Right. Well, if you still in any form of communication with Calvin Harris, ask him about the jams, the KLFs, the Manual, and that has been his template for becoming the multi-millionaire international selling act that he is. He's not the only one. Like do you remember that song Amadeus? Amadeus. Right? They openly came out and they stated that they read the Manual and then they went out and they wrote that song. So what you'll find a lot of the time is a lot of these bands are one-hit wonders. Calvin's an exception to the rule, but Chumbawamba, I get knocked down and I get up again. You ain't ever going to keep me down. I get knocked down and I get up again. So they were also just wanting to be like a gang of sort of peaceful eco-warrior, fucking dreadlock hippies, some of them, who anarchically infiltrated the mainstream music with that song. I do commend them when they went to the Brit Awards. They were invited to the Brit Awards, and that was during the whole fucking bullshit Cool Britannia, which was an MI5 job, basically, to make fucking New Labour in politics cool with the youth. That's like when they went along to 10 Downing Street and fucking Noel was chopping out a line in 10 Downing Street and claffing champagne with Tony the murderer, Blair and all the rest of it. But at the Brit Awards, John Prescott foolishly thought he would be a welcome guest at the Brit Awards. So Chumbawamba went up and poured a bucket of ice from their champagne bucket right over him. It was a smallish act of violence, but it was more a statement as to, like, you've got fucking blood in your hands, you cunt. Why are you here? So that's my Chumbawamba story.
There we go. Interesting. There was a lot of history in that story.
Go on and check out.
By the way, I didn't actually check with you before because of the technical issues when we came back from the break, but I'm assuming my beamed green tea made its way to you, no problem, aye?
You did indeed, thank you very much.
Amazing, chuffed.
Great. Quite a few comments coming in there, we'll rattle through. Ori. Oh, right, okay, so it's Ori's fault. Get off the torrents, Ori. Graham Spears, that was excellent, Becca. What a voice, both rap and sing. That is indeed.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for tuning back in, Graham. Hope you're well today, mate. Sharon Cool, I've got a disco ball in the bathroom. As good a place as any, Sharon, to have them.
My mum's got a big blue disco ball in her bathroom.
Nice.
She just wanted it. Yeah, she's got it. Looks great.
Why not? Actually, I might put a disco ball in my bathroom now that you've planted that seed there.
I swear to God, of all the people I knew, I thought you'd be the one with a disco ball in your bathroom. You must right this wrong.
You'll not be surprised to know I've got a lot of yellow in my bathroom.
I can imagine.
I think I got. Aye, there's a lot of yellow. I think Mary's on the Twitch and YouTube because she's as blind as a bat. Okay.
Me too.
Sharon, he was so funny the other night. Gavin Mitchell, I think she's talking about he was. Bjorn Bjork, yes. Bjorn Bjork. Hi Walter, how you doing, mate?
Oh, I love that guy.
He sound as. We should watch one of their videos. What do you think?
Absolutely, get some Despicables on, man.
Right, because
I think they've got a couple of things on YouTube, I believe.
Walter, message in the comments what video of yours you want us to watch. We'll stick it on as a wee musical interlude.
And Walter, I know you asked me to send you a tune like 2 days ago, and I've still not done it. But just I'll get round to it. I will. Sorry.
Raimundo, I love Bobby. You love Bobby. We all love Bobby.
Yay!
Indeed,
the barman.
Jurgen loves Bobby as well.
Hey.
So, who's this? Scott Russell. So, is the Joker going down the stairs? Not sure what that means, Scott. Go on, Liam. Noel's a Tory twat these days. You're right. He is, Sean. Dr. David Kelly. Aye. Dr. David Kelly, the Atomic Weapons Establishment nuclear arms inspector, who was one of the bioweapon research scientists who was part of the delegation who went out to Iraq pre the second invasion in 2007. He came back. They presented the evidence to show that Saddam did not have any weapons of mass destruction. He did not have any biological weapons. And then Alistair Campbell, when he was the Dominic Cummings of the New Labour administration, he then infamously now said that he ordered MI5 to sex up the dossier. That's a direct quote. So they completely fabricated the evidence and lied to the public, lied with the biggest protests in modern history, with millions lining the streets to protest Scotland. We knew there was no legal or lawful justification to invade Iraq, and we only done it at the behest of the US because they wanted the oil. And then lo and behold, after it, when Tony the fucking murderer left office, he then became a paid consultant with Chase Manhattan, who made money and profited from it, the bank. Before that war, when the US went round the world to get the coalition of the willing, just on that note, I mean, like Dr. David Kelly, whilst it's still on the screen, so he was murdered, basically murdered by the state, probably MI5 or MI6, but he was murdered. There was no evidence that he committed suicide. They got a dodgy coroner, the same coroner that they used for, if I remember rightly, what do you call her? She used to host Crime Watch, Jill Dando.
Jill Dando, aye.
Aye. So it was all fucking horribly linked with the state and the collusion. And just at this point, I would like to remind viewers of the 23 podcast show that we'll speak as much truth as we want. We'll explore various different themes and all the rest of it. But the 23 podcast show is sponsored by Dr. Timothy Leary. Think for yourself and question authority. Now, absolutely cast iron guaranteed. The evidence, the prima facie evidence is there. Conspiracies happen. Conspiracy facts happen. And the actual conspiracy that was the second Iraq war, which is 2 or more people in collusion, engaging in an unlawful or an illegal act. The USA, the UK, France, China, and Russia made up at the time, and still do, the United Nations Permanent 5 Security Council. They're called the P5 Security Council. Now, when they took their sexed up dossier, so the USA were blaming Iraq for 9/11 when there were no Iraqis. There were 15 alleged Saudi Arabian hijackers. The rest were from various other countries of the 19 alleged hijackers. So the question is obviously asked, why was Saudi Arabia not attacked? Clearly because of the collusion between even the Bin Laden family and the Bush family. There are extensive ties that go back there. When the whole of North American airspace was shut down, the only planes that left were the Bin Laden family and members of the Saudi royal family who left the USA because they knew the heat. They'd been told, right, let's get you guys out of here before the heat comes down. But anyway, the USA took their fabricated evidence. The sexed up dossier by the UK was taken to the P5. Now, any of the members of the P5 have a controlling veto. So whenever any war, whenever any of them want to go to war, or whenever any other country that is in the United Nations, they're supposed to go to the P5 and ask them permission and say, look, they're bad cunts. We want to invade them for this reason. They deserve it. Here's our evidence. If the 5 of them unilaterally agree, then they can be invaded. If that country invades outside of that permission, then they've breached the United Nations security conventions. And then they could then have sanctions and all the rest of it imposed on them, or even attacked by the UN coalition. The UN peacekeeping forces, as happened in Yugoslavia, as it disintegrated into fucking war and chaos. So when they took the sexed up dossiers, Russia knew it was bullshit. China knew it was bullshit. France shat it and abstained. The USA said, well, you're not getting any cut of the oil profits. And even after the vetoes were given, that meant legally and lawfully we could not go to war with Iraq. So that protected Iraq by the United Nations. But the desire from the military-industrial complex was so strong that the USA and the UK then went, right, do you know what we'll do? We'll create our own. They called it the Coalition of the Willing. They then got roughly about 25 countries coincidentally, Spain had a terrorist attack, so that convinced them that the big train bombings, that convinced them that they should join the coalition of the willing. But South Korea had never had any oil interests anywhere globally before that war. And then after that war, Blair then went on the payroll of a South Korean oil company because they were then making untold fucking dirty money profits from that war. And it was all just about the oil, getting the military industrial complex, building new US bases in there, and it just turned into an absolute fucking shambles, as we all knew it would. So, Sharon, you're right. Dr. David Kelly, he was murdered. Bob, yeah, mate, it's the fucking truth. We know it. We know it's the fucking truth. If it's not the truth, shut me down. Google, shut me down. Raymond should watch Michael Franti's documentary. I know I'm not alone. He visited Iraq after the First World War and shows the devastation from the people of Iraq side. It's terrible. I mean, they were going in there with like white phosphorus and all the other fucking Scud missiles and Exocet and Patriot missiles and all the rest of it. Roughly, I think it's estimated over 1 million Iraqis died from it. Absolutely shocking. Like Bush, idiot boy Bush and Blair should be in the fucking Hague for crimes against humanity. War crimes. Yeah, I was there as well, Sharon. Becca, what would you what would you like to contribute to
that? Nothing. I think you covered everything, mate.
Okay. Hip hop.
Hip hop.
Who was your first? How did you first get into hip hop?
I would say, realistically, I kind of got into hip hop through acts like Portishead. Jurassic 5 was a big early one, but Portishead really was sort of the first, like the Dummy album. It was actually one of my ma's mates had like burnt the disc, like copied the CD, pirated it, and brought it round for her thinking she'd be into it, and she thought it was trash. And I found it next to the kitchen. He put good effort in, like he printed out the wee cover and everything, so it had like the actual dummy cover.
Brilliant.
He printed out and cut. So I took it upstairs and listened to it on repeat for about 4 months. And I remember my mom like being like, "That's dreary. That's like dreary music," and I was like, "It's amazing music." Like, do you know what I mean? So Portishead Dummy album was probably the most influential. Jurassic 5, Quality Control, classic. And then Uncle, the science fiction album by Uncle, which I wouldn't just say is like hip hop, but alternative and indie, and just there's all sorts going on in that album. Do you know what I mean?
Look at my painting, Becca. Right above me.
Amazing! Oh my gosh, that is an absolute peach, man. Honestly, that album is like, I've bought that album about 5 or 6 times in my life because it's one that people are like, "Can I borrow it?" and then you never get it back. That and Lauryn Hill, that's another one that I've had to rebuy a few times when folk borrow it and don't give you it back. So, but what an album science fiction is, man. So, aye.
Miss Education.
Oh God, aye, what an album, beautiful. Like love Missy Elliott as well. She's a massive influence on me. Like, there's loads, man. All the usual suspects you'd expect as well. But I grew up listening to like a lot of rock and pop, really, initially. So I think it stands to reason that I would gravitate or be more affected by like Portishead. Like I got into Portishead before I kind of really took Eminem into my sort of consumption of listening. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So
there was certainly a few years between them.
Yeah, but like I think I was about 15 or something when I discovered that Portishead album. Like, so that's probably about the time of like, I guess, would the Marshall Mathers LP have been out that late? What year would that be? I'm very old. Like I confuse people because people think I tend to think I'm a bit younger than I am because I'm an absolute idiot.
Right.
I'm,
okay.
Quite young looking, but
Dummy came out in 1994.
Well later then, because I was 15 in like 2001, I think. So, it would have been about 2000, 2001 that I discovered
Eminem.
There was an album of his that was out around that time when but I remember really not being that fussed about it. Like, I was more prone to listen to like Cypress Hill than Eminem around that same time. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like the heavier stuff and that.
The 94 Dummy came out and Slim Shady EP came out in 99. So
was it the Marshall Mathers LP that was out then in 2000, 2001?
That came out 2000.
Stan and stuff. Aye.
Yeah, and then the Eminem Show 2002. I mean,
took me a while
Eminem,
to come around to that.
Right. Well,
but
I mean, Eminem.
I rate him now.
I was very, very blessed, fortunate that I got into Eminem from the start, and I got to see him in the Barrowland Ballroom as well, which was just absolutely fucking amazing.
I've never seen him, but I got to see D12 years ago, man. So, so Proof and stuff, it was amazing.
I've got an amazing story for you about Eminem's after party that I gate crashed after the Hampden gig with D12 and Obi Trice and Exhibit and stuff like that. Going to come on to that. I need to quickly scan through my mind what I could say that won't make me end up in the Clyde wearing a pair of concrete slippers. Okay, we'll go to the comments. We'll go to the comments whilst I try and work that out in my mind.
Maybe you can tell me your story after the live stream. How about that?
The live stream. No, man. There's some great parts that I can, because sadly Proof is dead, so he's not going to sue me. But I'll come on to that. I think Bob's just laughing. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Bob. I love Bob. Bob's a great guy, and his family. Top man out in the East Coast. Shout out to the Highbees, Bob. Sharon, Portishead are amazing. Tricky missed that. Yeah, all the Wild Bunch down in Bristol, they were and are massively influential on my life. Graham, I'm curious on the link between hip hop and politics. More importantly, the social impression that hip hop has had in unexpected countries such as Scotland. Well, we can touch on that just now. I'll give you my take. You can give me yours, Becca. Well, the origins of hip hop coming out of quite literally the rubble of Brooklyn and the Bronx, Queens, Staten, not so much Manhattan because that's where the money was, but in the late 70s, New York as a city was bankrupt, and they just left the fucking. The purpose of the Vietnam War was to control the Golden Triangle heroin trade, because the CIA are always involved in gold, oil and drugs, and that's usually what every war is always over, one of or all of them anyway. So the projects in New York were called the projects for a reason. There was massive social experimentation, and again it was the continuing modern day version of slavery of the black man as white Anglo-Saxon Protestant America have always wanted to suppress them ever since they became the fucking immigrants. And I'm attacking the state here. I'm not attacking individual Americans. Was that in reference to America, or was it in reference to Scotland, that question? Well, he's talking about the link between them and how it's came over to Scotland, but I think we need to preamble it with how it began. So the people who had literally nothing, they created something out of nothing by Grandmaster Flash, Furious 5, all the original, the early adopters like Eric B and Rakim, Cool Herc, all having these block parties where instead of just having one deck that you would just play your records on traditionally, one of them just decided to go, fuck it, let's put two decks next to one another. Then they were playing different songs and sampling from a lot of Kraftwerk and a lot of James Brown, taking the Amen sample from your famous Old Funk and Souls. And then they were literally fusing. It was an alchemical process of bringing music together. However, without going too deep into the music, there are 5 pillars of hip hop. The DJ. So without the 5 pillars of hip hop doesn't exist traditionally. The DJ, the MC, the B-boys and the B-girls doing their breakdancing, the graffiti art, the graph as art as a form of resistance, and also positive, empowering philosophy. So they were literally just entertaining one another and creating a new art form, which has become the most successful currently and for a long time now. Hip hop has been the most successful genre of music in the world for quite a while now, and that's what they did. But it certainly it was never without its political statement. Public Enemy being probably the main ones that people would think of, but right up to today, Stanley Odd. We'll definitely play the Stanley Odd "It's All Gone to Fuck" video. I hope we won't have a copyright infringement on that, because at the moment, Stanley Odd released this in 2016, I'm sure. I started an online campaign to make this the Christmas #1. With me trying to be a fucking cultural anarchist. We done quite well. We got them a good few more streams and some more plays on YouTube and stuff like that. So we'll stick that video on the playlist. But Stanley, shout out to Dave Hook. Hopefully we'll have them on. Actually, Stanley Odd are on Mark McGee's You Call That Radio tomorrow night at 7 p.m. So if you want to hear Dave Hook is Dr. Hip Hop, he's actually wrote a PhD on hip hop in Scotland. So as we now have a hip hop artist from Scotland here, I'll pass Jurgen over to you to continue that.
I wish I could grab him right now. I really do, man. Like, that'd be so cool. That'd be so smooth if we'd planned that ahead. Next time.
So on you go. How do you think? So how do you think hip hop's influenced Scotland politically?
Well, I think it's a commentary, essentially, isn't it? Lyrically speaking, it's, you've got artists like Loki as well. Obviously, as your sort of, he's done a lot not only for the community but on shining a light on social injustices and stuff. So that translates. It doesn't matter where you are, whether you're Scotland or Africa or Russia, or there's poverty and there's malcontent. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, and lyricists and artists, not just hip hop artists, because I don't think that's fair, but I think the way hip hop serves in our community and within our political climate is as a commentary, and to sort of shine a light on some issues that perhaps might not be obvious to everybody, whether that's due to, social status or whatever. But I try not to get too political, to be honest with you, Dave. So well,
you don't need to. You don't need to.
So I try not to delve too deeply into, what my thoughts are, because I think I like to just I'm a more artsy fartsy person than that. Do you know what I mean? So if obviously any artist writes in the hope that someone's going to connect with their stuff and it'll resonate. But I have the luxury with some artists that I admire in our hip hop scene that I can ask them, where were you coming from when you were writing that? Or this seems like you're talking about this or that. Obviously with some things it's obvious. But I would say that it's a commentary. It serves as a commentary. It serves as a connector between two dots that might not automatically link themselves, whether that's discontent with social issues and things like that. your artists like Loki are he talks a lot about, and very eloquently, like and with Dave Hook as well. Obviously, he's another one that writes very eloquently. Do you know what I mean? And it serves the purpose, I feel, to sort of make it accessible to people that might maybe not be obvious to some of these issues, I guess. But yeah,
agreed. In the comments I'm about to share, so Darren McGarvey, aka Loki, again, like another amazing Scottish MC, writer, rapper, however you want to describe him. He wrote and won the Orwell Prize, which is the most prestigious award you can win for a book in the political sphere, called Poverty Safari. It's an amazing book. It was quite a pivotal book in my life as well, in terms of processing some anger as well. It's called Understanding the Anger of Britain's Underclass. I'm going to give that a share in the comments. If you've not read that, please buy it. It's one of the most important books of all time, and that's why it won the Orwell Prize. I've just shared the link to buy it, and I'm also, when it was announced he won it, I'm also going to share the Guardian article that's just came up at the top of the Google results. Orwell Books Prize goes to Poverty Safari by Scottish rapper Loki. Judges said the polemical study of deprivation, written using his real name Darren McGarvey, was exactly the book that Orwell would have wanted to win. And it's so true. It's very much like quite a few, like Down and Out in Paris, and some of the other books that Orwell wrote, like before, like 1984 and Animal Farm and stuff like that. So please check that out. Well, Becca, to step away from like the politics in hip hop, which obviously a lot of acts have done. Stanley Odd have done that, like with Son, I Voted Yes and songs like that, and other topics that he stepped on. Their comeback single as well. Sadly, their Hug and Pint gig was one of the ones that's been cancelled, postponed, hopefully. But I love Stanley Odd so much. Other amazing hip hop bands that we've had in Scotland as well, like Hector Berserk. I loved them. We played before them on Incredible. It was us, Hector Berserk, and Young Fathers, also phenomenal, from Leith. The three of us, one after one another, at the Wickerman Festival in 2014, and that was when we had a lot of enthusiasm and positivity for the referendum that was coming up then. So a lot of politicians were making statements. Us, as a sort of stripped back version, we had the honour of playing the Freedom Rally the day before in George Square to like 10,000 plus, and Loki was on right after us and gave an amazing speech. That was one of the greatest days of my life to play that. Sadly then countered by what we know then transpired. However, I fucking love the Beastie Boys, and the Beastie Boys as an absolute force of hip hoppery, and like even like in a way, three fucking Jewish kids from New York who were kind of like infiltrators themselves into what was traditionally at the time considered to be it was mostly black artists that were doing hip hop at the time as well. But then they came in, and like they were for me the rap version of Eminem in the 80s. But the Beastie Boys proved that you could be the most successful hip hop act in the world without rapping about politics. And when you listen to most of their music, it actually wasn't until after 9/11 when they released To the Five Boroughs, which was their homage, obviously, to Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, and Staten, from the Battery to the top of Manhattan. And that was their homage to their home city, because it was hurting, and they were hurting. And that was the most political album that they'd ever done. But when you think of like fucking like some of their greatest songs, like Sabotage, just like a spoof video with Spike Jonze.
Amazing video.
Sorry, not Spike Jonze. Oh no, it's Spike Jonze and Spike Lee. I always get them mixed up. Spike Jonze, the Jackass director. I actually met him when I went on. I won a competition to go on tour with MTV and Jackass for the first Jackass movie. So I had the pleasure of sitting. That's another story. After the Eminem after party story. How long have we got? How long have we got? But yeah, I like the art that you make, the hip hop that you make doesn't need to be political to be hip hop. I suppose really is the kind of like the loose point that I'm trying to make here. But I'd pulled across. Do you like Nine Inch Nails?
I do like Nine Inch Nails. Trent Reznor has done some incredible things with regards to like the science of sound.
He really has.
Frequencies and things like that. Like,
oh, totally.
He's a you don't. I think he's one of these folk as well that's an artist. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to. I know a lot of folk have kind of got beef with Trent Reznor or Nine Inch Nails. Do you know what I mean? But I think he's a bit of a genius, actually. Not that I've listened to that much Nine Inch Nails in my day-to-day life, I can say. But yeah,
they've just released 2 new albums.
Oh shit! I didn't even know that, man. This is because I've not had internet, you see, so I'm out of the loop.
Right. So I actually shared it on my Facebook timeline earlier on. So when Trent had decided that he was going to it was Tea in the Park 2009, which was my first sober Tea in the Park, but also the year that I caught swine flu, which was pretty shit. Trent had said that Nine Inch Nails were quitting touring. He was getting quite pissed off with the whole industry and touring. He recently, or was then, married to the ex-Playboy model, Mary Queen Mandig, and he was wanting to start a family and stuff. Plus, he was wanting to get into movie soundtracks. So they said that was going to be the First Aid team at Tea in the Park wanted because I had swine flu. And I refused because it was going to be. I thought it was going to be Nine Inch Nails' last ever gig, so that was emotional on a number of levels. But he then started working. So he won a Grammy for the Social Network soundtrack with Atticus Ross, and then he went from his more traditional industrial metal, industrial rock sound to moving to being very classical and ambient, quite Brian Eno inspired. So he released those 4 albums called Ghosts 1 to 4. So for these times, him and Atticus got together again, and they've released the next Ghosts 5 to 6 albums. So I've just shared the press release in the comments by Trent and Atticus about that. There's a really interesting read, just to read out the sort of the opening gambit. Friends, weird times indeed. As the news seems to turn ever more grim by the hour, we found ourselves vacillating wildly between feeling like there may be hope at times to utter despair, often changing minute to minute. Although each of us define ourselves as antisocial types who prefer being on our own, Trent and Atticus he means, this situation has really made us appreciate the power and need for connection. Music, whether listening to it, thinking about it, or creating it, has always been the thing that has helped us get through anything, good or bad. And with that in mind, we decided to burn the midnight oil and complete these new Ghost records as a means of staying somewhat sane. Speaks to me in so many levels with this podcast. Ghost 5, Together, is for when things seem like it might all be okay. And Ghost 6, Locus, well, you'll figure that out. It made us feel better to make these, and it makes us feel good to share them. Music has always had a way of making us feel a little less alone in the world, and hopefully it does for you too. Remember, everyone is in this thing together, and this too shall pass. George Harrison reference there. We look forward to seeing you again. Be smart and safe and take care of each other. With love, Trent and Atticus. Okay, so I shared the press conference with the links, the press release with the links, but I've just read it out there because it's beautiful. That is beautiful, isn't it?
Lovely, man.
I've forgotten now why I started talking about Nine Inch Nails. Oh, there we go. I forgot to leave my
It
breadcrumbs for
happens.
that.
Tangents, man. Did you forget your breadcrumbs this time? Oh, bro.
I did forget my breadcrumbs. We'll go back to the comments.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we've done that one. Bob, have a listen to Ice Cube's talk through on his first solo album, 30 Years On, America's Most Wanted. Yeah, America KKK. Sharon, Eminem's first album was class. It was. Stoner Paranormal Investigation, awesome podcast. Thanks very much. I think that's a new viewer for us in the 23 universe on the YouTube. Please give us a subscribe if you're new on the YouTube. If you're not, or if you're new in, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please give that a subscribe. I'm just going to drop that in the comments again there. I've remembered 9 Inch Nails. I'll come back to it after the rest of the comments.
Yes, found the breadcrumbs.
Found the breadcrumbs. And then Sharon was saying there, was watching a clip of them coming into Britain back in the day, chastised like scum by the media. The Beastie Boys, they were. Yep, Beastie Boys legend. Shout out to Adam Yoch, sadly away to the great gig in the sky. MCA, where have you been? Stuck like sardines in a tin, whatever it is, I've forgotten it now. But yeah, sadly he passed, so it's sad rock at Ad Rock, MCA, and Mike D. Mike D and Ad Rock that's left now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Trent, also around the time of stepping away from the music business, he brought out the Year Zero album. Now the Year Zero album, Becca, was also an art project, a multi-faceted art project, and he brought out some amazing. He wanted revolution through art because he was protesting against the Bush regime and also the Iraq War, which again we come back full circle to. That poster there, I made that my screensaver on my laptop for a while, and that explains it for me. It really is. You'll probably find that I would like to think that just most of the people in the 7.7 billion people on this one planet we call home are all just wanting to go through their day without fighting with anyone, verbally or physically, and getting along with themselves and their neighbours, their loved ones, their partners, their community, their family, you know. And it's when you look at the really, really evil fucking control that the military industrial complex has on society, that we're fed like the fear propaganda, which again, 23 podcast show is sponsored by Dr. Timothy Leary, who reminds us that you've got to think for yourself and question authority. And we really do. Becca, can you let us know some of the themes you explore in the forthcoming album?
I sure
Thanks,
can.
Sean.
Sure I can. So essentially, the new album is it's like a break. It's essentially what I've done is I've boiled down certain aspects of my personality into these definable characters with certain traits, and you know, like, you know, there'll be a lot that explains stuff like this that'll go into the album when stuff's starting to come out for it. And I think some of the videos that'll get made will probably shine a light on that, because I think we're all made up of different people in ourselves. Like, we've all got like our work self, and you've got like your at home self, and you've got like someone like me has like their I'm on stage performing self. And do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you kind of pull on different aspects of your personality to feed the energy into, or pull the energy out of. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes when you're at home chilling, you don't want any of your ego or bullshit or anything lingering about. You just want to be your own chill, silly self. Do you know what I mean? So the album essentially is like a massive conversation or arguments at points between these aspects of my personality, essentially. Which I could I've got some of the notes beside me. Do you want me to like read you out a little bit of like, I've never done or shared any of this information, so it's like proper exclusive into the sort of behind the scenes if you want.
Yeah. Listen, I love the behind.
Ramble less if I actually just sort of
have something to focus on.
No, I've had to do a lot of like writing stuff down lately for this project. So yeah, essentially.
Becca, I love all the behind the scenes chat, so please share whatever you want.
Good. Cool. Well, essentially then, the elements of Speak No Evil are ego. Number one is called ego, which you would find ego saying, I'm right, I'm in charge, I know best, look at me, right? The next one is fear, because fear is an aspect we all have in our personality. And you would find fear saying, I'm wrong, I'm out of control, I have no idea what's happening, don't look at me. Like a polar opposite kind of thing. And then wrath is another character, which is, you're wrong, nobody controls me, you're an idiot, fuck off, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like just belligerent and pissed off and fed up. Do you know what I mean? And then child, because I think all of us have an aspect of like our childhood sort of true self where you were just a sponge. Do you know what I mean? And that naivety sometimes that we all experience even as an adult. You kind of, everybody as an adult has that horrible day where you're like, I'm meant to know what I'm doing and I've got no idea what I'm doing. Do you know what I'm saying? So like the child would say, can I ask if this is right? Tell me what to do. What does this mean? Do you want to play pretend that we're rock stars? Do you know what I mean? Just like totally fucking like away with the fairies. And the final character in this album is the romantic, which is we're all right in our own way. Whatever you'd like to do, count me in. You know what's best for me. I want to look at you, but look at me. Do you know what I mean? Like kind of that flirtatious, like open and like flexible and aye. So that's essentially like the main elements that I've kind of broke it down. Like, and it's to do with myself going through some challenges in my personal life, although I tried not too much to sort of actually leak reality into my writing. I like to write conceptually a lot. So like, I think when people kind of get to grips with the idea of like, there are certain voices speaking in different songs that they'll be able to sort of clock who's arguing with who in songs and stuff. And like that sort of a internal monologue we all have, you know what I mean? Because like, it's very much that and a sort of journey of like, sort of feeling yourself sinking below your best, but like sort of using all these aspects and you learning how to use these aspects of your personality, the good and the bad, to ultimately sort of better yourself. Like come face to face with the shit that you might not like about yourself, and you have to embrace it and you have to find your peace with it and you have to find a way to sort of adapt. It's all about adaptation at the moment, you know, we're all adapting, like, but it's sometimes like life throws you some curveballs and you need to adapt and you need to be willing to use all aspects of your personality and know when to let what aspects of your personality take the lead and have the mic, you know what I mean? Because the problem comes when you give one of them the mic too long and you lose that balance, you know what I mean? So yeah, I was totally in like the character fear essentially when I started the album, and I came out of it just 100% the romantic. Do you know what I mean? Just really happy and open and flexible and excited, and you know, like, yeah, so it's good. It's a really good album, if you don't mind me saying so. I think you're meant to say that, aren't you? It's a really good album.
Of course, yeah.
You've heard it. You've heard it. You're one of the few people in the world that's heard the album.
I know. Listen, if we can't blow our own trumpet and self-promote ourselves, then no one else will.
Yeah,
so you've got to you've got to have confidence in your art. You've got to be confident in the process of creating it. When did you start the writing of it, and when is it out?
So there's things happening with it. I can't really delve into too much detail, but the album will definitely be out the start of next year. I was hoping to get it out this year, obviously with everything that's happening, and some recent developments I've had with the project. It will definitely be out next year, but I don't want to. I'm going to end up I can't really talk too much about some stuff with it, but good things are happening with it, and it's going to be there's going to be a lot of. I don't know. I'm pure rambling, David, because I've not spoke to you about some stuff that's going on with the project yet. But it's coming out next year. There's going to be at least 3 music videos and singles.
Okay.
I think it's okay for me to confirm that essentially just now. But yeah, there's good things happening with it. So there'll be more previews and everything soon. So but I can't really say much more than that just now, I think.
That's fine. You can see that I shoved up the wee exclusive banner along the bottom there just for what you did share with us.
Nice one. Yeah, that is literally I've sat and I had to write this out for some stuff, to make it legible. So that's literally that's a proper exclusive. So I hope I don't sound like one of those pure contrived or but there is depth and thought that's gone into this album more than anything I've done. So there's no point pretending like there's not.
No. Thank you very much. Jurgen approves as well.
Yay! That's all I need. That's all the approval I need. I'm good then.
Your entire project has been validated by Jurgen the chicken.
Yeah. I am really excited for critical response, so I am excited to get proper feedback when more stuff's out and things. I'm quite excited.
I did give you some myself. I loved the listen of it.
You did.
It's brilliant. What did I, as you were going through those themes, did I count right? So are there 5?
5, yeah. There's 5.
Good choice of number. So when you were talking about that, I have this tattoo.
Oh, is that a yin yang?
Yeah, because like you were talking about, that the dark and the light exists within us all. It's also a reminder for me that there's a very famous Cherokee Native American proverb called the 2 wolves. Have you heard of that?
No.
Right, I'm going to bring it up on the screen. So an old Cherokee
which
chief.
wolf you feed? Which wolf you feed? Yes, yeah. I have heard this story. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a belter of an analogy.
It's amazing, and as soon as can you read that? I'd rather you read it out if you can read that on the screen.
It says, hold on, let me see. A light is going inside me, he said to the boy. It is a terrible fight, and it is between 2 wolves. One is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance. Ooh, my phone just flipped around there. All the bad shit, essentially. That's what he is, right? That wolf. The other is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, blah, 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 blah. The same fight is going on inside you and inside every other person too. The grandson then asked his grandfather, which wolf will win? The old chief simply replied, I can't see the bottom, but I know it is whichever one you feed, isn't it? I can't see the bottom because there's a...
I took the banner away.
I just put it back there. The one you feed. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I knew that. I did know that. I'm glad I knew that. That is a really good analogy. I actually went, I'm not ashamed to admit that I went for some counselling last year and stuff, like to help me sort of work through some stuff that I needed to. And that was an analogy that I'd heard from my counsellor and stuff, and it's a really, really strong one. It's like it's a good empowering one, and it's true. It's up to you. It's up to you, like what you choose to feed in your mind.
Definitely, it's the Buddha himself. Like when I first quit drinking alcohol and drugs, I've been off the bevy 11 years, 1 month, and 20 days.
That's admirable. Well done. That's amazing. Everybody do lots of hand clappy emojis, because that's an achievement. Well done, mate.
Thanks very much. The best decision I've ever made in my life. I couldn't have done it though without starting yoga and going to the Glasgow Buddhist Centre and learning how to meditate and studying introduction to Buddhist philosophy. I went there on and off for the best part of 2 years, and the Buddha has it reached the stage where like they actually will start to lean on you and let you know about the official process to become a Buddhist, which, like any religion, I'd been brought up and indoctrinated in the Catholic cult for a number of
Catholic cult.
For a number of reasons. I realised that was bullshit and got out of that. I went through an official process of defecting from the Catholic cult, which you can actually do. But then the Vatican closed the loophole through canon law. But I had to get an actuality formalis de defectus de Roman Catholica in Latin form signed. I had to phone up my local chapel, St Barbara's, aforementioned, where we were at primary school, find out the date I was baptised. I had to put all that information down. I had to get 2 people to countersign it that I was of sound mind when I was making this decision. I was threatened with the worst cardinal sin, so I was immediately condemned to hell because I became an apostate, which is the worst cardinal sin you can commit in Catholicism. That's lovely. You send a letter off to the Bishop's Chancellor of the diocese where you were baptised, in my case Motherwell. You get a letter back from the Bishop's Chancellor saying they've registered it, they've sent it off to the Vatican. Then it's logged in their international book of souls, and then you are then given your soul back.
Okay. Amazing. I'm glad you got all the paperwork for it then, mate. Does that mean like you've literally got the document, you could chuck that on eBay, sell it again, might get a few quid?
I know, I don't have it anymore. I really wish I did still have it. I mean, I might try and it might be in...
Hilarious.
Actually, I think a precursor to like Google Drive was Evernote. It might be on my Evernote account, which I've not been in many years. So when I was going to the Glasgow Buddhist Centre, I never wanted to be officially inculcated in any religious cult, whatever you want to call it, ever again. Except for the cult of the chicken.
Well, you keep calling it a cult, so a cult it is, I guess.
Except for the cult of the chicken. But the meditation, so the Buddha would say, as long as you have right thoughts, they influence right words, they influence right actions. And through meditation, the Buddha's quote is, be mindful of the thoughts. Thoughts become words, words become actions, actions become your character, and that becomes the person that you are. So if you can, between the stimulus and response, control your thoughts and your stimulus and response to something, then you can then be in the position where you choose, like Bill Hicks with his modern metaphor of the 2 wolves, it's just a ride. Make the choice between fear and love, and then that then helps you become the person that you are, because the thoughts become your words, the words become your actions become your character. So I like yourself, Becca, I'm not ashamed to say I've had mental health problems. John is a psychiatric nurse. He's been basically my personal therapist through a lot of my adult life. from my first significant mental health breakdown when I had to stop. I would have probably killed myself through binge drinking and drugs. And
It's
I moved
very
on
easy done. It's very easy done.
It is.
It's terrible how easy it's done, you know. And it's very prevalent in our industry as well. It's very easy to party a lot and stuff, but you know, it's very uplifting to hear a story like yours, man.
Thank you. And like we've actually just came out of it was the Mental Health Foundation's Mental Health Awareness Week, and this year's focus for Mental Health Awareness Week was a focus on kindness. And whilst we are in this unprecedented pandemic globally, kindness is more important now than maybe it ever has been in any of our lifetimes, in terms of being kind to ourselves, not being too hard on ourselves for processing the enormity of what's going on, also being kind to others who are also experiencing different levels of trauma. And the post they put up, so it ended yesterday, but today the Mental Health Foundation shared this. So kindness is not just for 1 week. We will continue to campaign for a kinder society all year round. We are here to support communities, families and individuals to live mentally healthier lives, with a particular focus on those at greatest risk. Thank you for all of your support. So that's a very important message at this stage to take stock of. We've got a few comments there came in. Excellent response earlier, guys. Looking forward to the new album, Becca. It'll be out early next year, Graham.
Start of 2021.
It's going to be a great year. Sharon's off to bed. Got that COVID test first thing. Not that I'm ill. Have loved seeing you. Thank you both. Thank you for tuning in, Sharon, on your big telly
Good
up
luck
in Glenrock
tomorrow.
Yeah, hope the test goes well tomorrow. I'll be in touch about that. Bob, yes, peace, brother. Graham, well done, dude. Thank you. For fuck's sake, ha ha ha. Yeah, the Catholic cult. What can I say? So, musically, who's inspiring you at the moment, Becca?
At the moment, honestly, mostly Ori, because we've been in lockdown together and he has been like producing like crazy. He's been on a really good roll with production. So most of what I've been listening to is things he's been doing. There's been a few folk from my community putting out some belters, but other than that, I have been watching a lot of Netflix and playing a lot of PlayStation. So at the moment, really, my main influence is who I'm hanging out with, which is Ori, and he's a very prolific producer. So he's influencing me a lot, and I reckon we're going to co-produce a lot more bits and pieces together. So that's quite exciting too. Obviously.
Brilliant. Can I ask, just on the Net Fuzz, I think I mentioned earlier on, but 10 weeks and 1 day on lockdown for me. I went through the 5 stages of the grieving process. I've been through them, and there's sometimes a bit of oscillation between them. But the traditional model of the 5 stages of the grieving process is shock, bargaining, anger, depression, then acceptance. So April was a depressed write-off of a month for me. I wasn't even really getting out of bed, but I was just staying in bed, like watching stuff online. A lot of Netflix. I watched Ricky Gervais' new Afterlife series.
Smashing.
Oh, beautiful.
It's one of the first things I watched when I got my Netflix account. I added it straight to my list. It was cracking. Really good. I
was in absolute tears at that, but it was very cathartic. But can I ask you? Thanks very much, Bob. He's saying that it's been nice listening to you two talking. Raimundo Dragula Catholic. Can I ask you? Have you watched The Midnight Gospel?
Yes, I have. Most of it. I fell asleep when I was watching some of it the other night, so there might be an episode or two that I missed, but yeah, like I have watched it. It's brilliant. Anything that looks like an interesting animated thing that's a Netflix original, I pretty much always check out. So
because Neil, I'd like us to play just for actually just on the time, Becca. What time do
I
you
know
need
it's
to wrap
late.
up?
My battery on my phone's starting to get low. Just so you know, it's the last piece of technology holding my shit together. So.
Okay. Well, you tell me then. Like you set the agenda. What time do you need to go, and what do you want to share with the 23 universe in that remaining time?
Shall we give it 5 more minutes to be safe, and then I reckon my percentage will probably be below 5%.
Okay.
So that's maybe if that's all right with you. Is that how long are your shows normally? Like this is good.
Yeah, that's that is a loaded question because I've had mild insomnia as I moved into stage 5 acceptance of the situation, which coincided with like my burst of creativity and bringing the 23 podcast show out of hibernation. Just learning like the basic tools and getting to grips with the StreamYard software, setting up people to come on it, moving on to like the Sundays and starting the new Sunday sessions online and a lot of organising stuff behind the scenes.
Of course,
various other things. Like I've been doing some volunteering for an amazing company, or a couple of my pals, Aaron and Sarah. They're in a company. They started a company called This Is Makers. They are our last tenants in the Barras market. They've got a socially distanced wee mini production line going on. They're a laser cutting company, and they decided at the beginning of this, due to the national shortage of PPE, is they got the health and safety visors blueprints and decided to start making these through a crowdfunder. Which
I saw you posting about that. Yeah, that's an amazing incentive that they've done, man. Like off their own backs. It's an incredible thing to do.
It is. I've just given their Facebook page a share in the comments, so please go and link that. So shout out to Aaron and Sarah. So they've got a great wee group of volunteers, including Gaz Penders, the first lad to comment earlier on. They smashed, like they went over the fundraiser target by 150% or something thereabouts. It's on their page as well. If you do, it's only 50 pence to make one of these PP visors, but like about they've made about 1,500, delivered about 1,500 to. I went out and did some of the first deliveries. Actually, my first deliveries were in Paisley to an NHS community midwife team, a couple of care homes. Also, my good friend and comrade Gordon Booth, shout out to Gordon and his wife Bussy. She was in a care home that had already had 5 COVID deaths and they had no PPE whatsoever. So it's been amazing what Aaron and Sarah have done, and just an absolute humbling honour to be a part of that. So in answer to your question, how long my show's been going on, because of my insomnia, the first show with Chris Herron from the New Hellfire Club, Gonzo Division, the music journalist, bassist in the Harlem Globetrotters. Will Johnson from his band was also supposed to be on it. He had IT issues at the start and we lost him. He was in the comments. That went on for 5 hours.
Wow. Holy shit. So this is nothing for you right now, man. This is nothing. You're just getting warmed up and I'm like, oh man, I need to tap out.
It's all down to you.
I feel bad about that.
No, not at all. Listen, like if for so many people that are in lockdown, if they are on lockdown, like their sleeping patterns are probably all over the place. So just before, like in the last few minutes, what would you like to share with the 23 universe? What else can we? Who else would you recommend for people to check out? Let's for some of your homies I'll give their Facebook pages a share in the comments, and let's you recommend.
Sure. Well, there's a few people who are involved with my project who I could shout out. Absolutely. I'm lucky enough that on this album, I've got 3 remixes of tracks from the album. So one of those remixes is by Mega, who remixed the track, a track called First Step.
What would be their Facebook page?
Mega, all in capital letters.
Just Mega.
Yeah. I think he's changed his logo recently so that the E is like backwards and like slightly different, like pointier. Kid Robotic, who is a long-term collaborator friend of mine. We've done a lot of stuff over the years together. He remixed a track called I'm Still Breathing, and my glorious big brother in production and life, Tony Smoke, remixed a track called Tides, which was one of your favourites, was it not?
Yeah, I'm hoping to have Tony on a future show.
Yeah, he is a legend, so you should. And I also, Ryan, Kid Robotic, who I shouted out for one of the remixes, he's on a track also with my good friend Gmo from Togo Fam.
Yeah,
and
I've just shared all these pages.
Yeah, and the only other person after that that's left is one of my favourite tracks on the album is a track I did with Weedy, who I put out an album called Illogical a couple of years ago. That was the first album I fully produced. That was sort of hip hop and alternative, and yeah, I done that with Weedy, and that was called Illogical. So me and him have a tune together called Half of Me, which is kind of on that subject of, you know, what side ear you're going to feed, you know what I mean, and not feeding the bad side, you know what I mean, not feeding the badness. So Weedy as well, he's amazing. But also I'd like to shout out, that's me, just got my 5% notification. So I'm gonna have to definitely go in a minute, but like I'd love to shout out the musicians that are in my band. I'm very, very lucky that Joe Watt, who's an artist in his own right, you might know him as Shetland Phoney. He's also an incredible sound engineer. He plays bass for my live band. Amazing person. Jennifer Leach, she is the backing singer for my band, and you might see me on Instagram and Facebook and stuff going on about my wife. She is my wife of life. She's a wonderful, wonderful human being, and she's got one of the most beautiful voices you'll have ever heard. So search Jennifer Leach music for her.
Jennifer Leach, I'll share that as well.
Yeah. And Mega as well. He is my hype man, and he gets his singing on when we're gigging and stuff. And there's some other artists that I have lined up for live shows and stuff, but should probably no point talking about that until such a time as we can share a stage. So yeah, man. So I work with some of the best in the biz, so I'm very lucky. And obviously I have to shout out my lovely fella, my lovely cats who have been keeping me sane. Shout out to all the pets at this time, right? If you've got a pet, I bet you appreciate your pet 10 times more than usual at the moment, because my cats have brought me endless entertainment.
Shall we raise a glass to the pets?
Yay to all the beasts, all the wee beasts and fur babies. Yeah, like my cats have been endless entertainment. So,
brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, I've just
thanks to you for having me as a guest. I really appreciate it very, very much, and always a pleasure. Hey, always a pleasure, man. That's me now at 3%.
Thank you, Becca. Okay, to everybody here on the 23 podcast show, we've had Becca Starr on here. We shared lots of our YouTube. Go on, subscribe to that. Check out our music. Check out the album when it comes out. I've just shared all the shout outs that she gave, from Jennifer Leach way back to Kid Robotic. Giving their Facebook pages a share in the comments. Tomorrow night at same time, same place, I have wonderful Zoe Bestel Wednesday night, I've got Mandy Clark, Bomb Scare and Katie Tunstall bassist, and our dog Buzz. Thursday night, I've got James Joseph Toner, an incredible author with an amazing story about being wrongly locked up in India. Friday night, we're having a Yoko Pono party. Saturday night, I'm just still to get confirmation on that guest, and then Sunday, we'll be back again with the next Sunday sessions online. So on behalf of myself and Jürgen, Becca, thank you very much.
Yeah, if once I get all my technical stuff sorted, right, you got to shout me for these live Sunday session things that are happening. If you're streaming things like that, like sure. I'll sort out it all and get it fixed, and we'll do it. I'll sing my balls off, bro. Bob's just giving a shout out there and says, "Awesome guys, thanks, Bob. You're a legend. Keep on rocking in the free world." And on that note, I usually just sign off by bouncing back. And sign off by saying 23 Universe. Thank you everybody who's been on the 23 Podcast Show, episode 12 with Becca Starr. Peace, love, and the 23 Podcast Show. Thank you and good night. Take care. See you. Bye. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Bye.